From the Wayne County Courthouse in Goldsboro, North Carolina, Wayne Goldsboro Television brings you the meeting of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. The meeting begins shortly with an agenda briefing, then the regular meeting will begin soon after. Please stand by for the Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting.
All right, we're going to go through our pre-agenda. Good morning, everyone. Going through here, we have the invocation this morning by Commissioner Cromartie. The pledge will be from Commissioner Wayne Acoff. Approval of the minutes. We'll need a motion on that to approve the minutes of the Wayne County Board of Adjustment of February the 2nd, and also the Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting on February the 9th and the 16th. We'll have a special recognition this morning. Mr. Wood, can you give us some explanation?
Yeah, this is an award given by the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, and so what they do is they ask the sheriff of the county that the person being honored is from to make that presentation on behalf of the Sheriff's Association. So Sheriff Pierce will be making it to Representative John R. Bell this morning on behalf of the North Carolina Sheriff's Association.
All right, is there any adjustments on our agenda?
I've got one I would like y'all to consider. I've been talking with the sheriff over the past week, and I failed to get this on the agenda, and I meant to. The sheriff has gotten about $8,000 worth of donations towards a new canine, and he thinks he can come up with the other $12,000 from his existing budget. He'd like to get one more canine and put it with the ACE team, and it would do both drugs, but also it would be a tracking dog as well. And so we'd like to request that you add that to the agenda and allow him to do that with the with a oral budget amendment for $12,000. But he's got 8 of it taken care of, and he saved the money out of his budget to get the other. We do think he needs it, and I'd recommend you do it. Again, I apologize for not getting it on the agenda. He had gotten it to me, I just failed to get it on there.
And he's just going to shift funds from another line item?
That's correct. That's correct. So with your approval, I'd like to add that to the agenda.
Okay, is there any objection to adding that to the agenda?
Just as long as it's, if he's got part of the money already raised, if he just shifted from somewhere else,
He does.
not going into the kitty to get the other
Not at all.
12,000.
We will get with him about moving the money over. So if you'd approve a budget amendment, and we will move the money over.
Does anyone have an objection to adding that to the consent agenda? No objection, so we'll just add that as item 7 on the consent agenda. All right, any other adjustments?
I believe that's everything. We do have budget amendment 317 that we emailed to you. This, if y'all recall, you had, this is a request from the Wayne Community College to bring forward their unspent money on capital projects. Their original request was for the full $361,000. We've been working with them. Allison's worked with them on this, and it's down from $761 down to $723,000. The biggest item you'll see in there is $305,000 for the roof on the Pine Building. But these are a number of projects that are carryovers from previous years. So what I'm recommending to you is that we allow them to finish these some 10 or 12 projects, but not to fund any additional capital projects in next year's budget until all of this is taken care of, because this is an accumulation of 2 or 3 years of carryover projects. And in my opinion, they've got enough in here. They just need to take a year and get these things done. Because if you think about it, we've only got 120 days left in this year. And so some of these are going to be carryovers again. So,
And the revised, but this revised one actually was less than the original, is that correct?
That's right, by about $38,000.
Okay. All right, good enough then. And is that a separate item?
Well, it is, so it probably
Okay,
needs to
that's
go
item 5.
under,
So that's under item 5.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, Marcia's correct. It's a replacement for number 5 under new business, because that one had the 761 number. So it's just a replacement on that.
Okay. All right, any other adjustments?
I think that's everything.
All right, at 9:15, we're going to have public comments. And then at 9:30, we're moving into public hearing. In regards to addressing the public hearing, it is my intention to, one, limit comments to 3 minutes on this public hearing. And I will be asking Mr. Wood to make an opening statement regarding our intentions of not taking any action today, recessing the public hearing until April. What date in April are we recessing this?
April 5th or 19th. I'd recommend you do the 19th. That gives us more
Until
time.
April the 19th. Okay, giving us plenty of time then. April 19th recess. And next, the fact that it is our intention to explore all other means possible to bring about some type of improvements to the streets. We are exploring those. So he will be making a comment on the front end of this public hearing. I will be asking, since I understand it'll be a large crowd, so I will be asking them, if at all possible, to select a spokesperson to speak for a number of these individuals that wish to speak or have their comments made, because I think there will be similar comments. And we'll just go through this as best we can and to listen to our citizens and see what their comments are. Any other suggestions or comments on conducting the public hearing? Okay. So we're going to receive comments on the preliminary assessment resolution of Canterbury Village and North Creek subdivision. And the second public hearing is to receive public comments on a proposed Wayne County zoning map amendments.
And Chip should be here for that. Oh, there you are. Okay.
And Chip, if you give us a little bit of discussion on
The proposed zoning map amendments are the interchange and highway corridor zoning map amendments that we have dealt with in the past, have been working on. There's 4 sections of that. The west US 70 highway, the new US 70 bypass to the Johnston County line, community shopping to residential 20. Rezoning of land around the interchanges and corridors of the new US 70 from Wayne Memorial Drive to the Lenore County line to community shopping, residential agricultural 20 and village district. The rezoning of land along I-795 corridor north to community shopping and residential agricultural 20. Rezoning of land along the corridor and interchanges of South US 117 from Goldsboro around the fairgrounds south to Mount Olive jurisdiction. So this is a rezoning, most of it. Some of it is a new zoning on West 70. Once you get past Walmart, that corridor would be new zoning. The rest of it is a rezoning of existing zones. So we had a work session at the last meeting on it. It basically is a 300-foot buffer on both sides of the highway right-of-ways. And then when you get up around the interchanges, we're picking up property lines and taking in an entire piece of property, not just splitting a piece of property. It's something the board asked, planning board to take a look at sometime back. We came up with the proposal maps, sent it to the planning board. The planning board reviewed it. They approved it, recommended it be approved by the commissioners, and so we brought it to the commissioners for public hearing. Advertisements, we've met the statutory requirements for notifications. Actually, advertisements were run in 2 local newspapers. Property owners that were from out of town were mailed first-class notices, and half-page newspaper ads were run. So, you got any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer.
All right, so we're gonna be calling the public hearing. We're gonna ask you to give that explanation
Okay.
at that time.
Yes.
Okay? Any questions of Mr. Crumpler? Okay? Moving on to the consent agenda. I'm sorry, under unfinished business, we have none. So the consent agenda, the first item is a resolution adopting the Fourth Amendment to the position classification and pay plan for Wayne County, North Carolina. And that is on page 89 through 92.
That's
Mr.
right,
Wood.
and I've given you a memo that explains this. The bulk of these you've already done, and that was the changes on the Sheriff's Department, the Detention Center, and EMS. But our pay plan was adopted by resolution, and that resolution says it can only be amended by resolution. So we were in a hurry to get that done and failed to put it in resolution form. So that's what the bulk of it is. And then we have a few minor changes on some other positions, which I went over with you. The Health Department, as y'all know, they have to match up with the state's plan in the Health Department, and they want a position classed as a public health education specialist. It doesn't change the pay grade or anything like that. It's really just changing the title. And then we call the person the Information Technology Director. We want to change that to Chief Information Officer. That's just a change of title. No money is changing. And then we have a Master Technician 1 and Master Technician 2. They've been separating those out by what they do, whether it's carpentry or electricity or whatever. We just want to make those broad categories. Again, there'll be no increase there. And the last thing, as y'all recall, Donna Phillips had brought you a grant position, fully funded with a grant for an early reading readiness position. And so we need to add that to the plan at grade 64. But it doesn't cost the county anything because that's a grant-funded position. And then finally, in recruiting for an airport manager, we actually want to decrease the salary there from grade 75 to grade 73. So that one would actually be a decrease down. And that's what the resolution does on the pay plan.
No, well, a majority of this we'd already agreed to. We just didn't have it by a resolution.
That's correct. And that was an oversight on our part. I think we were in a hurry to try to get those things done. And so we brought it to you by memo, but we didn't put it in resolution.
All right. Any comments or question on that resolution? Item 2 is to establish a meeting of the Wayne County Board of Adjustment on April the 5th at 9:30 a.m. in the Commissioners' meeting room to receive public comments on a special use permit request for a proposed solar facility.
Yes, sir. The Wayne County ordinance regulating solar facilities requires that any solar facility located in the airspace controlled surface area of Seymour Johnson Air Force Base have to require a special use permit from the Board of Adjustments. So this is another solar facility, Ruskin Solar LLC on Ruskin Road. It's a 17-acre site, 2-megawatt facility. Goes across 2 parcels, almost 18 acres. It will be serviced or connected to Tri-County's electric system. We will require a special use permit hearing from the Board of Adjustment to be scheduled. We will send out notices to adjoining property owners, advertise it, and put signs on site so you can receive public comment.
Okay, and all we're doing here is just
Just
establishing that meeting with the
Yes,
Board of
sir.
Adjustment. Item 3 is to change March the 15th, 2016 Board of Commissioners meeting to March the 16th, and that March the 15th is actually primary election day.
That's correct.
So we're going to move that from Tuesday to Wednesday.
That's correct.
Item 4 is authorize the change in hours of operation at the Steele Memorial Library. And that is a minor change.
It's
I
a
think.
minor change. What she's trying to do is match up how people are using the library. We're finding that after about 3 p.m. on Saturday, Steel Memorial is, the attendance is very low, but they would like a second night to be open. And so she basically wants to take the hours from the afternoon from 3 o'clock on the Saturday and move that to Thursday night. So that's basically what it entails, and it's pretty much a wash in terms of staff time and everything.
Well, it's good that staff is looking at the use of the library and
That's
actually
right.
being open up when actually the demand.
That's
is
right.
there.
And we've had some requests for this, as far as the second night being open.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And also, I think she's taking some time off of Saturday morning also, isn't she?
She may be when okay,
Yeah.
right. You're right. It's low before 10 a.m. on Saturday and it drops up after 3.
Yeah.
You're correct.
All right. Then item 5 would be the Wayne County Public Library policy revisions in the disruptive behavior policy, meeting room policy, registration circulation policy.
This really is has some minor changes in it, but basically says you can't have food or drink in the library, because we're having some problems. And that's what it amounts to.
All right, and these changes hopefully will address those issues that
That's
we're
correct.
having there.
That's correct.
Item 6 would be the budget amendments.
The first budget amendment you have is number 297 for the sheriff's office. This is to anticipate and appropriate concealed weapons and fingerprinting fees. Number 298 is for the sheriff's office, $13,328.67. This is an insurance refund received. Number 299 is the sheriff's office, $1,950. This is to appropriate proceeds from GovDeal sales. Number 301 is for the solid waste, $17,913.06. This is to appropriate grant monies received. Number 307 for the sheriff's office, $1,000 to appropriate insurance monies. 312 for the sheriff's office, $17,649.68. This is to anticipate and appropriate a refund for insurance claim. Number 315 for 4H, $25,000 to reallocate grant fund line items. 316 for Wayne County Public Schools, $11,502. This is to close out the Carver Heights lottery project. The next one is for cooperative extensions, $73,8916. This is to appropriate the September bonuses paid to the employees that are paid through the NC State payroll, and then we pay NC State back. And the final one for EMS, $10,075 to appropriate monies for insurance premiums.
Okay, any questions on the budget amendments? Okay, and then item 7 that we've added to the consent agenda.
Right, would be the K-9.
Okay, under new business, Mr. Wood, if you'll go through those.
I think Millie Chalk is going to come and make a presentation on the Duke Energy Progress Neighborhood Energy Saver Program, and this will give some publicity to that program. So Evans Taylor will be here, and I think, is he going to make it instead of Millie? Okay. So we'd like to have them make that presentation. No action is required by the board. It's simply a presentation. You want to say that?
Try to make their presentation after public comments and before the public hearing if possible. We discussed that.
Whoa.
We discussed it. You said remind me.
Okay. We're gonna try to do that.
Okay.
And then item 2.
Bonnie Farms preliminary subdivision plat. Chip, you want to go over that?
Okay, Bonnie Farms is a preliminary subdivision plat. According to the Wayne County subdivision ordinance, requires that every major subdivision in Wayne County within the territorial jurisdiction of Wayne County, which doesn't qualify for a minor subdivision process, the subdivider shall submit a preliminary plat which shall be reviewed and approved by the Board of Commissioners before any construction or installation of improvements may begin. So Bonnie Farms is a preliminary plat. It's not a final. It's showing 121 lots. It's owner, developers, Outlaw Mobile Homes. The surveyor is B.R. Carnegie. It's located at intersections of Pecan and Genoa Road. It will have two entrances into the subdivision, one off of Pecan and one off of Genoa. There are two permanently protected open space areas on site that would constitute about 18 acres of land that's going to be set aside and dedicated to a homeowners association. They're setting those aside probably because the soils are not suitable for septic tank and to alleviate any stormwater issues that they would have on site. The subdivision will consist of 10 new subdivision streets with 1.87 miles in length installed per the requirements of DOT. They will utilize public water and on-site sewer. And this property is serviced by Southern Wayne High School, Brogdon Middle, Brogdon Primary. It's within the Southeast Wayne Sanitary District. Dudley Fire Department is servicing at EMS Station 8. It is within the Goldsboro MPO for transportation planning. It is not in a water supply watershed protected area. There are no voluntary ag districts present. There are some wetlands on site, and it is within Board of Commissioners District 2. The Wayne County Planning Board recommends that the plat be approved.
Okay, any questions on that? All right. Item 3, Department of Social Services presentation on the Northwoods project.
As y'all recall, we entered into the Northwoods contract, and it was due to be completed in February, and I'm happy to report it is completed in February. And so they've made a huge improvement in their operations there. As y'all recall, this was basically automating all of our intake and records. We had been on a paper system, which was pretty redundant and took a lot more employees to do. And based on that, and given the improvements in the operations, I thought it'd be good to have Debbie Jones, the DSS director, come over and give you a presentation on the Northwoods project and what it means to her operation there. So she'll be here to do that.
Okay. Then on item 4 is a motion to award the bid for the county office building, parking lot, and drainage system project.
On this, we made an original recommendation to you. I sent you out an amended recommendation last evening after we got some information. So I think the best thing to do is just, let me read this memo to you unless or does anybody have any questions on it? Essentially, what happened is the contractor was who is licensed was contracting with a subcontractor who is not licensed. We had concerns about that because we didn't have anything in the bid response that showed either one had experience in doing this type of work. But so we had recommended that you go with the second low bidder. There's a $400 difference there. However, in talking with the subcontractor, he did, at my request, furnish references that we could check and see if he had done this kind of work and had it been satisfactory. And then the second issue was, could an unlicensed contractor be subcontracted to do the work? So as I put in my memo here, I checked with our chief building official, Steve Stroud. And of course, Steve oversees inspections of contractors and is very familiar with the licensing requirements. And he indicated this was a common practice and he didn't see any problem with it. The second issue was then, could the guy do the job and do it well for us? I had Noel check the references, and all of them came back very positive that he could do a good job and had done a good job in these very areas. So we're very comfortable with that. And because of that, I'm recommending that you ignore our previous recommendation and go with the contractor that is Chase and Smith Builders of Greenville, North Carolina, in the amount of $192,700. And just to remind you, our contract is not with the subcontractor, it's with the contractor, and he is a licensed contractor. So with that, I'm recommending that we change to the lowest bidder, which again is Chance and Smith Builders of Greenville, in the amount of $192,700.
And Commissioner Bell, since you were actively involved with that, would you make that motion?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
All right, and item 5, of course, we discussed already, and that is a motion to approve the budget amendment 317.
Right. And
Amended.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I failed to go over one additional item we'd like to do, and Marcia's just handed it out to you. We have an opportunity, actually about 3 opportunities to pick up additional non-emergency medical transport. One is a fairly sizable potential client in Mount Olive. And so what we'd like is your permission to piggyback the previous bid. And the piggyback statutes in North Carolina allow us to do that if they've been bid within the last 12 months. Well, you've bid ambulances in the last 30 days. So what we're asking you to do is allow us to advertise this, because the state statute, the reason we're bringing it to you at the last minute, the statutes, we didn't realize require that you have to hold a public hearing on that, and you have to do a written advertisement. So what we're asking you to do is schedule the public hearing for the next meeting and allow us to advertise for this.
Okay, and you're going to be adding that to?
I would add it as number 6.
Number 6?
Right.
Okay, and you'll go through all that explanation?
Yeah, Tommy will at the meeting.
Okay. And we're going to call that the piggyback.
Yeah, I would call it the piggyback purchasing of ambulances. For the notice of it.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's everything.
All right, and then we're going to have county managers' comments, board of commissioners, committee reports and comments, closed session. I believe we do have a closed session today. And we are recessing the meeting for the commissioners' lunch. Lunch will be with the Goldsboro City Council and staff at the Goldsboro Event Center. Not events, but event center. And then we will adjourn our meeting after lunch. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Anything further that we need to discuss on the agenda?
I think we've got it.
Not? Do I have a motion that we go into closed session?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of?
Consulting with an attorney, serve attorney-client privilege.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Okay, let's go into closed session.